And do you have a message for him?
Honestly, he got a fight next week, right? So, it seemed like he focused on me, and Lamont Roach is focused on him. I think I'm gonna go put my bet in on Lamont Roach.
Overall makeup of a Tank Davis is surprising to most fighters. It won't be surprising to Lamont Roach. And Lamont is a DMV fighter himself, which means he got that dog, you know? It's going to be a good fight.
Gervonta, Tank Davis, and Lamont Roach are set to face off tomorrow, with boxing experts making their final predictions. Surprisingly, Roach's unwavering confidence throughout the press conferences and build-up has won over some professionals. Despite the fact that the formidable GervontaDavis shows no signs of relinquishing his flawless record.
The invitation thing, but obviously he hit for a reason. He do what he's supposed to do with the guys that's in front of him. He got
Gervonta Tank Davis, boasting a flawless 30-0 record with 28 knockouts, is riding a 21-fight knockout or technical knockout streak, excluding his decision win over Isaac Pitbull Cruz. His last bout in June saw him overwhelm Frank Martin, securing an 8th-round knockout with his signature speed and power. On the other hand, Lamont Roach, a reigning junior lightweight champion, is moving up in weight to challenge Davis, one of boxing's most feared knockout artists.
You know what I'm saying? They're about to put him with a guy at 130 pounds. Whether he's a champion or not, you're getting a guy lighter than you to come up in weight to make you look good. Again.
Some boxing experts believe Davis chose a weaker opponent to preserve his undefeated record, arguing that the fight lacks the excitement and competitiveness that a showdown with a top lightweight contender could have provided. Teofimo Lopez sees it as a mismatch and remains unconcerned about Lamont Roach's championship status. You know what I mean? They're matching him up with a 130-pound fighter, champion or not. He's bringing in a smaller guy to move up in weight just to make himself look good. That's the reality. No matter how you look at it, he's facing someone lighter, and it's all set up in his favor. Me, I dominate any of them.
Building up his followers, you know, and now look where that got him. So the whole thing is all about, man, just I'm a real fighter. That's what it is, man. The truth, and the truth hurts a lot of people, but they got to learn how to.
Division champion Teofimo Lopez, who recently hinted at being ready for a showdown later this year, is among those eager for a fight. In a recent interview with Fight Hype, Lopez questioned Davis's willingness to take on elite-level opponents.
Shot words. Take it in. I beat Lomachenko. For me, I scored a 9-3. For you guys, I could care less because y'all don't know shit about boxing.
He emphasized the long-standing belief that Davis has been carefully managed, pointing specifically to his past reluctance to fight Vasily Lomachenko. That's their biggest weakness. They don't truly believe in themselves, Lopez said. How many times did they claim Tank Davis wasn't ready for Loma and needed more preparation? How often did Mayweather have to speak on his behalf? I'm just stating the facts.
I ain't one to fucking play with. I respect it, man.
Lopez also recalled a sparring session with Davis from 11 years ago, when Davis, already a professional at 18, faced a 15-year-old Lopez. While he noted Davis's aggressive approach in the ring, he admitted that little can be taken from that experience. Despite his observations, Lopez does not downplay Davis's skills. In a past interview with Fight Sports, he acknowledged that Davis is no easy opponent, but remains confident that he is the only one capable of defeating him.
I mean, like, he's a bad man. He can fight. He's tough. I know we had our dispute back and forth, whatever. At the end of the day, we talk about just boxing.
Hey, absolutely. So
Tank isn't a pushover, but I believe I'm the only one who can truly beat him, Lopez stated. If anyone's going to do it, it has to be me. No one else can get the job done. Meanwhile, female heavyweight champion Claressa Shields, despite being a longtime rival of GervontaDavis, offered a surprisingly balanced prediction.
I look forward to watching that fight.
Is this a pay-per-view fight, though? Would you buy it? Are you going to buy it?
I'll bump any fight that Tank has had pay-per-view. I think that.
I don't know why everyone is sleeping on Lamont. He has a decorated amateur career. He's a tough kid, and he's very skilled, Claressa Shields said. Tank is Tank, and when I say that I mean he's a bad man. He can fight. He's tough. Of course, Shields hasn't forgotten their past feud, adding, I know we've had our back and forth, but at the end of the day, if we're talking strictly boxing, he's a great fighter, and I'm looking forward to watching that fight.
Fighters up from a lower weight class to get in there with Tank. Tank looks spectacular, but it's a cover-up. I'm gonna tell you right now. I think Tank is a good fighter. They're saying they don't have an opponent.
When asked if the fight was worth a pay-per-view purchase and whether she planned to buy a ticket, Claressa Shields responded, "I've always bought Tank's fights on pay-per-view, and I think Lamont Roach is worth watching. This fight is going to be very technical and skillful, and as always, we'll see Tank's power on display. May the best man win." On the other hand, Tim Bradley had a much harsher take, calling it the Tank Protection Program. He criticized Davis, saying, "This dude looks like a total fraud. Put him in the ring with someone who can punch back. This so-called Tank Protection Program has been going on for a long time, bringing up smaller fighters to make Tank look spectacular. It's all just a cover-up."
Yes, you do. His name is De Los Santos, and the fans wouldn't mind paying for a De Los Santos fight, but they're covering something. I don't know what it is. Is it the power of De Los Santos?
On the other hand, welterweight sensation Kenneth Sims Jr., who has faced both Roach and Davis, shared his thoughts on the fight and what each fighter needs to do to win. Initially, Sims hesitated to make a prediction, as he maintains a good relationship with both men and felt it would be somewhat disrespectful. However, he eventually opened up, reminiscing about the wholesome moments he and Roach shared during their nationals when they competed against each other.
Like a great fight for boxing. I think that boxing fans are trying to, basically shut Lamont out. I don't know, maybe because he's not a big.
When asked what each fighter must do to win, Illinois native Kenneth Sims Jr. pointed out that both Roach and Davis are counterpunchers. To gain the upper hand, one of them will need to step out of their comfort zone and force the other to open up. He also highlighted Davis's tendency to start slow, noting that it takes him time to find his rhythm. Tank starts slow, but as the fight progresses, he picks up the pace and gets busier, Sims explained. However, he warned that for Davis to win, he'll need to be more aggressive earlier than usual. Otherwise, Roach, with his speed and ability to rack up points quickly, could take control of the fight before Davis has a chance to settle in.
Forward to watching the fight.
Do you think the fact that it is going to be a technical fight, do you think that favors Lamont, or does it favor Tank?
This perspective was unexpected, considering most have already dismissed Lamont Roach in his lightweight title debut. However, when asked about the GervontaDavis versus Lamont Roach matchup, promoter Eddie Hearn defended Roach, calling him a good fighter and arguing that the reaction to the fight had been unfair. After the bout was announced for December 14th, many were surprised by the selection of Roach as Davis's opponent.
The GervontaDavis Roach fight.
I think that, it's had a lot of criticism, but
Hearn argued that Tank, the WBA lightweight champion, had no choice but to avoid certain opponents for various reasons. Ryan Garcia is suspended. Shakur Stevenson is recovering from an injury. Isaac Pitbull Cruz recently suffered a loss, and Devin Haney defeated Vasily Lomachenko, who has opted to sit out the rest of 2024.
I won't be doing my phases because you know the family,
Yeah.
Davis had the option to fight Edwin de los Santos, Andy Cruz, Keyshawn Davis, or Raymond Muratalla, but none of them are as well known as Lamont Roach. Even if he had chosen one of them, it wouldn't have significantly boosted pay-per-view sales, as casual boxing fans wouldn't recognize their names. "I think the online reaction has been a bit unfair," Eddie Hearn said in an interview with FightHub TV. "Lamont Roach is a good fighter. The problem is that no one knows who he is. With Tank's status in the sport, people expect him to be in big fights. But if you truly understand boxing, you know this is a good matchup. Yes, Roach is a super featherweight, but realistically, what other options did Tank have?"
bad fight. Lamont Roach is a world champion. He's smaller than GervontaDavis. The problem is not many people are aware of who he is or his ability. But he could.
The backlash isn't just about Roach's lack of name recognition. Many boxing fans simply believe he's out of his depth. While this is undoubtedly a tough challenge for the 29-year-old, it's also a massive opportunity to elevate his career by taking on one of boxing's biggest stars. Roach is a skilled, crafty fighter with a solid chin, and if he can exploit Davis's tendency to start slow, there's a slim chance he could make the fight competitive and even secure an early lead.
I see a nice competitive fight.
Nice competitive fight?
Yeah. He's not going to fight.
While Davis remains one of boxing's biggest draws, this matchup has left some fans disappointed, as many were hoping to see him face a top contender in his division. Boxing is full of surprises, isn't it? Interestingly, Lamont Roach is preparing for the biggest moment of his career, aiming for more than just a lucrative payday against GervontaDavis. Roach isn't just after a paycheck. He wants GervontaDavis's belt and a shot at redemption. His intense training camp is bringing him closer to that goal every day. But what might be even more unsettling for Davis is the deep personal tragedy that fuels Roach's journey. The loss of his coach years ago, a pain that still drives him every time he steps into the ring. Even Davis knows that defeating someone who fights with purpose or from a place of pain is never easy. Just think of Buster Douglas, who, fueled by the recent loss of his mother, shocked the world by defeating Mike Tyson over 30 years ago. Although Lopez hasn't announced a specific fight date, he has hinted at another possible move up in weight. Meanwhile, Davis is expected to return to the ring in December in Washington, potentially against Lamont Roach, the super featherweight champion. Former featherweight champion Gary Russell Jr. has criticized the matchup, claiming that WBA regular lightweight champion Tank Davis is deceiving the public.
Opponent or that Lamont's not going to present a challenge.
It ain't no perception. Y'all know what it is, man. Tank picking and choosing.
Selecting weaker opponents instead of the fighter's fans want to see him face is a deliberate strategy to keep Tank undefeated. Davis has held the secondary WBA lightweight title for years, allowing him to avoid the high-risk challenges that come with being the main champion. Russell is unimpressed with Davis's latest opponent, Lamont Roach, who was pulled up from the super featherweight division, further fueling criticism of Tank's matchmaking.
Personal, but at some point, Tank gotta take it personal. If I'm saying, I think you a bitch because you fighting somebody that's really not a dog, that's really...
Gary Russell Jr. criticized Tank for consistently facing opponents that fans have little interest in. "I could have seen that coming," Russell told Fight Hype, reacting to Davis handpicking Lamont Roach from the super featherweight division instead of fighting a legitimate lightweight contender. Throughout his 11-year career, Davis has often taken on opposition that failed to excite fans. The only time he fought someone the public truly wanted to see was against Ryan Garcia, a fight many considered a mismatch. Any chance Garcia had of winning was diminished by the weight stipulations Tank imposed in the contract, draining him before the fight even began.
Now, don't get me wrong. I don't want to discredit Lamont Roach. I know Lamont Roach, he's a good guy. You know what I'm saying? I know his father, they all cool. You know what I'm saying? But
I keep doing this forever, Russell said when asked how much longer Tank Davis can continue cherry-picking weaker opposition. "I believe the fans, along with media platforms like yours, have the power to push for better matchups." However, Russell acknowledged that Tank will likely continue facing softer opponents until he retires. Despite not generating massive pay-per-view numbers, Davis has a loyal fan base that doesn't seem to care about the quality of his opposition, many of whom, Russell argues, don't truly understand the sport. As far as they're concerned, Lamont Roach is elite, he added. Still, if Davis keeps fighting the same level of opponents he has since turning pro in 2013, it could limit his pay-per-view success for the rest of his